don't know if well, I know it's recording, but, well, hello, everybody. It's me and review in a bathrobe and my friend here, Mary.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about what we thought about season 2 of House of the Dragon. And I don't know if it was just me or did it just seem to go downhill for you, or just wasn't as good as the first one.
I agree, wasn't as good. Of course, two of my favorite scenes were when she come into the big, I don't know, throne room or whatever with her dragon, knocked the wall out and come in, the ant that came in there and did that. And then, of course, when...
that was in season 2?
1.
That was in, oh, yeah.
So, there's some dragon, I don't know, I want to see more dragons. I like the dragon stuff, dragon.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to find riders, and
Yeah, and then
the dragons don't like it. They ain't found anybody they like yet.
So you haven't watched all of it through?
Until the ending, yes. I'm
Okay.
the ones there, but look at how many people died trying to...
That's probably why you didn't understand when I said, when later on I was telling you yesterday about, because you said you did when
I seen it all, but I do tend to fall asleep and miss parts,
Yeah.
so I need to go through the whole thing again. And then I catch all the little bits that I missed, but I agree. I didn't think it was quite as good.
yeah.
I assume there's another season coming.
Oh yeah, there is. There was only intended to be, I think, 2 seasons or maybe 3, but now they've totaled it up to I don't know if it's 4 or 5.
Wow. They've been approved for that or whatever?
Yeah. But they said they're sort of relating this a little bit to the last season of Game of Thrones, if you remember how bad season 8 was. And they did not like it.
Well, I thought for sure in that ending that Jon Snow was going to get burnt up when he killed Daenerys in the...
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the dragon didn't. He just picked Daenerys up and left.
Yeah.
But he, of course, melted the throne. But I was surprised that Jon was still standing after that. But I guess
Well-
it's because, you know, he's...
Another thing about that series was, it's George R. Martin. George R. Martin, is that
I don't know.
the writer's name? But he never, from what I understand, he never finished writing Game of Thrones. I don't know if he's finished writing it now. So the source material is not even finished.
But yeah, it wasn't as good. But if it's something about dragons, I'm going to watch it and see how it is. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. It just for some reason it just wasn't as good. Maybe there were more shockers in the first one.
I mean,
Like aren't they cousins? They're related, right? That were riding the dragons. But when he went after the littler dragon and just bit him and the rider and everything, I was
they're
like,
cousins.
oh my gosh, can't believe that happened. And then in this season, he did confirm, or he did say to his mistress that he was sorry that he had killed the cousin.
he did?
You know, yeah. Yep, he said, I'm sorry that I did that. I
don't
was just
remember.
mad. And I was like, okay, but, you know, still don't bring him back.
Yeah, he's like a sulking child.
Yeah. But, so maybe the next season will be a little better. And, of course, I'm waiting for the end where it try to tie it in.
This is like what I think of this is it's like a season of nothing but exposition. If you know what I mean.
I don't.
You know, like they're talking all about. It's like they're planning on something to lead up to lead you up to the next season. Like, okay, we need to lay all this out before we can put in the details. I don't know.
Well, I'm still excited for the next one because I want to see how all this goes.
Did you get the you watched it on Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it with commercials or without commercials?
No commercials.
Oh,
I hate commercials.
yeah, I haven't switched over to no commercials.
It was $5
wait a
more,
minute.
so it was worth it.
Wait a minute. I think for some reason for not Game of Thrones, but House of Dragons, for some reason that show on there, they don't show commercials on that show.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to watch it straight through.
I know on Hulu, I started not paying for commercials. I mean, paying for commercials. Nah, did I say that right?
The first time, not paying to have no commercials.
Yeah, because there's a show I want to work my way through. But anyways, but you ever had a show that are something that you like, but yet you fall asleep?
Yep, I fall asleep all the time because my schedule is so crazy and I work so early. So it's real hard to go through them, but we did most of these while I was on vacation. So I wasn't as sleep deprived.
Yeah,
But I still want to find the little snippet that you were telling me about because I don't remember hearing that.
What? What's that?
About the vision.
Okay.
And that your theory was that it was Daenerys with the 3 dragons.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember.
I don't remember any of their names.
Their names are too, they're.
So was it one of the sons?
No, it wasn't one of the sons. It was the long-haired. It was
The uncle?
the uncle that married.
He had the vision?
Yes, that had his. He touched that those one of those trees.
Okay.
Like that, one of those trees that were in Game of Thrones, but that he touched it and it started like bleed this reddish, I don't know if it's supposed to be sap or whatever, but he did, and then he started to see this vision, and I'm thinking, I'm putting this together, I'm like, what he's seeing, because he's not gonna, I don't think he's gonna think that this is gonna do, it's gonna do with the future, but it's not gonna do with as far forward as. And he knows, I think he knows a little bit about the Song of Ice and Fire. That was another vision from before the old Valerian or whatever, that talked about a battle. But he sees, dead soldiers laying on the ground. He's walking over them. He sees white walkers, and then he sees you see the back of a naked woman with long white hair, and then 3 infant dragons coming up on the side of her.
Just like Daenerys in the movie.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones. But I think he's not thinking about that far ahead. I think he thinks that's his wife
Uh-huh.
because they both have white hair. She has successfully found 3 riders for dragons, so she's obtained more to her arsenal, if you want to say. And then, what has he been doing all this time? He's been building an army and things for an upcoming battle. So that's why I think he sort of, I don't know what he said, because sometimes in some of they were speaking that Valerian or whatever they call it. Oh. And so I think he might have thought that's why he bent the knee to her. Like I know that one older woman.
Because that like told him that she's going to have all these dragons.
Well, yeah, like she is the rightful queen. Like that's like his brother knew what he was doing. Like he was right to choose her. But in fact, this is not a vision about her. And then also, I don't know, I've never read the books, but it has said that the writers and things have had what's called dragon dreams or things, visions. Yeah. I know. You said your Chris has read them all, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if he has or not.
I thought you said he did.
I know Aubrey did. She's the one that has all books. You name it, she's got it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season.
There's one book that I liked. It really enjoyed it. It was called Interview with a Robot.
Never heard of that one.
It was a short book, and it was narrated by Will Wheaton.
I liked the one we read when he narrated.
Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, I did in 2.
It was good to hear his. I think.
Well, if you like his voice, watch the second season of Star Trek Prodigy.
I don't know that I've seen those.
It's on Netflix. They picked up the series, and you can binge watch it all. Do you remember on Star Trek: The Next Generation where they meet that alien called the Traveler?
Yes.
And then at the one point, he eventually goes with him.
Uh-huh.
Well, he becomes like him.
A traveler.
Yeah. He can, in this, I really enjoyed, I'm like, why can't modern Star Trek series be, I'm like, this is an animated series primarily made for children, but they don't make them feel like children, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
They don't like say, I mean, they're still using Star Trek terminology and stuff, but it's not made to make kids feel less intelligent. It's I really enjoy it. I'm like, I will tell anybody, if anybody would say, hey, there's a universe, if there's a universe, I don't know what you would say, like, say there's multiverses or something out there. If there was a made up of a fictional series or something you could go to, I would definitely go to the Star Trek universe, the Next Generation one, because the one that's anything that's connected towards that, because I would not Discovery. No, I don't like Discovery. That's got, because I think they did originally. They have determined that that is an alternate timeline from what they could, but I didn't like what they did with Picard either. They made like 3 seasons of that, and they totally ruined characters, and it's just like, oh, we're getting Picard, we're getting all these other characters back, we're gonna get Q back, and do you remember Q?
Mm-hmm.
I saw him one time in person.
At a Galaxy, at one of the cons.
Yeah, it was when it was down there. It was when it was called Wizard World.
Mm.
I used to buy those magazines before I had access to the internet. Like before I had a computer or I could afford the internet. Keep getting one person and then another person comes on, and that's usually what happens. Thank you, Mr. Spam. Sorry about that. But yeah. So what do you think of this this world that they've made in because the book, it's called Blood. Can't remember what the book is called, because it's from like a short little summary, basically to just tell you where the not like the Targaryens and the Valerians came from. So what do you think of the like the because would you call it a medieval or a middle age?
I always, because of castles and things like that and the way they lived, I know they're showing, the rats that are around, and it's just seems realistic to me with that would be like medieval, because you think of like the Renaissance stuff that they wear and have, and it seems along that timeline. I don't really know.
Yeah. The I know there, like it said in there was in the books, they said there was a collapse of like their capitals, and these volcanoes erupted, and so they flew to where was it, Westeros? Yeah, that's what the land that they're on now. And one thing I never did understand, they kept saying, "Oh, winter is coming."
Mm-hmm.
In the first series, like Game of Thrones. What they act like? Okay, there seems to be one particular. I don't know if it's like California thing. Like it's usually warm there all year round, and then they say, "Oh, winter is coming" in some places, and then they act like, "Oh, this isn't your normal type of winter. This lasts for years." That's what it seems like to me. What do you think?
Well, that's how it was in Game of Thrones.
That's what I mean.
Last a long time. So, you know, the preparation so that people don't starve and all that's gotta be huge. But that's what I think, it's a long thing, but in Game of Thrones, it was, you know, the White Walkers coming and bringing the cold with them.
Yeah, I see, that's another thing about, have you ever thought about how in Europe, and then you look at people and you're like, no wonder we are so pale. If you know, because we're from European descent, and then Europeans are very, pale, and it's very cloudy, very overcast a lot there. They don't get a lot of heat or I don't know what I'm trying to say, but sunnage there. I don't know what their summers are like,
No idea.
but where would you like to go if you could go? Like if you like,
I wanna go to New Zealand,
oh yeah, that would be nice.
where all the Hobbit movies and stuff were,
Yeah,
that was all filmed and stuff. It just looks so green. And I bet the water's really nice.
mm-hmm.
Because everything in Ohio is brown water.
Mm-hmm.
You go up to Michigan, you can find some clear water.
It wasn't originally like that. We polluted it.
Yes, we polluted it.
It was a lot better. Talking about I was watching something the other day. Talking about the runoffs, and there's farmers and factories.
Farmers use a lot of chemicals because that's what they tell them to do, but to get that higher yield.
I don't know if it actually, you put that, they won't sell American bread in in other countries. I mean, because they say this is not bread.
My mom made bread when we were little and it tasted so much different.
Mm. Could you even buy the ingredients today and it tastes like what back then you?
No idea, but
Because they bleach flour and stuff.
yeah, I buy unbleached.
Why do they bleach flour?
No idea. People like the stuff to be pristine, so I don't know why they do it, but the white looks prettier, I guess.
I don't know. The one thing I about in this thing was the two long-haired blonde guys. I'm like, especially the way they carried around their swords on their hilt, on their. It must be so awkward to sit down. I don't know if you thought about that. It was weird.
Nope.
Are you the only one in your family that likes dragons?
No, Aubrey's huge on dragons. Dylan likes dragons. Chris don't say a whole lot.
I don't know if in the original books if they were the six-limbed, dragons, or the four-limbed, like in the Game of Thrones, or did you notice that in the Game of Thrones and in the House of Dragons, some of the dragons look just like the ones in Game of Thrones, like they might have been related. Like
No.
the heads, like the faces,
I didn't notice that at all.
like the faces, like look very much similar, unless they're using a similar facial engine.
Well, the great big dragon that the one guy rides that killed his cousin riding his dragon, that dragon just looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah,
He's huge.
looks like.
He made like 10 of the other dragon and he just chomped.
Now they do finally have something, a dragon that's on. I don't think quite as big, but I don't know. But you know that he's got long blonde hair
And one eye.
No, yeah, he was riding.
He's got the biggest dragon.
The big green dragon, yeah, but then you saw where they got new riders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then but they were like they called them lowborn or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's that he's got a beard and long hair. He tamed the biggest one that whatever that who's supposed to be the queen had. Now I think he's like either the second biggest. I mean the like on the same level as the one-eyed guy's dragon, or not. But yeah, he lost his daughter, if you remember in the show. Yeah, she was sick, and there was a blockade, so they couldn't get in any food or I don't know medicine. I don't know about medicine, but yeah. So what have you been up to lately?
Well, went to the Guardians game this week up in Cleveland. That was fun, but they lost. The Arizona had a pitcher throwing 101 miles an hour, and they just could not hardly get a hit off of him. And it was a double header, but there's no way I could have stayed for 2 games. So we just did the one, and it still was a 13-hour day to do that. But it was still fun. And my friend really wanted to go, so we made it happen.
Mm.
And then just not much. I've had my grand dogs for a week, so that's been fun. They greet me every time I come home. The little ones sleep with me every night. That was nice, but it's always nice to hand them back. So it's just been a busy week.
I don't think I could ever handle a dog.
Well, you get back out of them what you put into them.
I've heard a child is somewhat like a dog. No, I heard a joke, a child is somewhat like a dog. Why do I keep getting these numbers? I don't know. Excuse me. That they eventually just grow up and they turn into a person. I don't believe all that. But I have not been doing too much myself. Yesterday, we went to the pool, and then Wednesday went to the anime club. There's like 6 of us there. We watched the last 20 minutes of the Boy and the Heron. I know you really wanted to finish it.
What did the guys think?
They're very confused. Well, the one guy, Dylan, he liked it, I guess. I mean, he said, "I'm not much into anime, but I really like this," and which I don't know if he's being sincere or if he's. I know he talked about like he wouldn't. There was something else he wouldn't, but then there was and then we started playing. Tried to start playing.
Werewolves.
Yeah, I don't know what is the
Werewolves of Miller's Hollow.
and that was good. After we got finally figuring out how to do it. But my Riley had an app, so that was the narrator, and then but then other than that, all this week, what I've been doing is I've been playing get this game I told you about called what was it called? Death Stranding, which it is a game that I wanted to play. I watched this. I know you think it's strange to watch somebody play a game. Well, when games today are more like watching a movie, especially with cutscenes the way they are, and then you can also pick up tricks and tips by watching them.
Oh.
You know?
I guess I don't play video games, so I can't relate.
I know, but the cutscenes and the things, they're so much like, I guess you could say, they're sort of like Pixar. Like if you would go and watch a Pixar movie, but a little bit more better, a bit more. I don't know. I mean, like The Last of Us. I mean, like the Last of Us. Oh man, some of the cutscenes in that video game just tear your heart.
I remember when I first started watching that, it was real scary or not scary, but rough at the beginning, and we weren't going to watch it. And you said, just get past that one little part, and then it was. You get, and that's what it is. You get caught up in the story.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a hard start. We almost did not watch it because of the very beginning.
Well, in the beginning, in the game, it's different. Well, first of all, they're different ethnicities. Anyways, it's a white dad and white daughter, blonde daughter. I used to say that little girl, she reminds me of Jodie, but because especially in one of the first scene, he comes home, and because her daughter, this little blonde-haired girl, she was trying to stay up all the time because she was going to give him this gift, and she's like, what time is it? And she gives him this watch in the game, and she's like, she just like looking at it, and no, he's looking at it, and she's like, well, how'd you get this, or how'd you do this? And she's like, I sell drugs. I sell hardcore drugs. I just started laughing. And and then he's like, well, great, then you can start paying for the mortgage. And then, but in the live action version, she takes an old watch that I think is already damaged to a watch dealer, there's some kind of rush on it because the wife there wants to get out of town. I don't know. Maybe they have heard. I think it's because they heard about something because they're Middle Eastern from Middle East. I think they heard something because it was the yeast in the it started in there's a squirrel out there. There was it started in it's a fungus. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It's in like the wheat or something, and I think they made and that's why everybody got infected because of the whole distribution system. They would have cut down on that. Probably wouldn't have got infected as much.
Gotta have a story.
Yeah, I know. But then that was more that they flushed out in the series than they did in the game. There is one thing I really liked in the series that they did in the they did in that they didn't do in the in the game. They never explained how Ellie was immune. They never did explain that. But
Because.
in the series they did.
But they didn't in the game. Okay.
No, not. They also didn't. I don't think about her sexuality until the second game. Yeah, they didn't explore that. They did in this first series. But no. So that actress or voice actress, she is the voice actress of Ellie in the game. I don't know if you knew that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And then, but I was like, oh, so that's interesting. They're going to have her play the mother in the series. I like that. And so where they said she got bitten, so she was bitten was it before she gave birth or after she got?
She was pregnant.
Yes, she was about to give birth.
So I think that's how Ellie got her immunities.
Yes. It must have traveled.
She got pregnant. She was pregnant when she was bitten, and then she had the baby before she turned.
Yes. So, do you think if they knew that's how that happened, if they went, like if, say, a mother was willing to sacrifice herself? No, I'm saying if a mother was willing to sacrifice herself, not the child, but they say, okay, we could.
Who's gonna do that?
I don't know who would do it. I'm just saying, in this fictional post-apocalyptic world, I don't know if it's post-apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic world, say, because, well, look at Joe. Yeah, it was Joe, right? Once he found out what they wanted to do to, what's the girl's name again? Ellie? Mm-hmm. Ellie, they wanted to do to her? They wanted to get the little, whatever was in her brain to come up with some kind of antibody, and that would have killed her. He just went on a mad shooting spree to get her out of there, and he told her told him this lie about oh, there were other ones like her. And there is going to be a second. I would tell your daughter to watch this series. She would probably like it, especially the second series, because it dives into the like LGBTQ type of community. Like, because in the game, they don't know what there's two girls. You remember that girl in the she sees at like whatever that town is where his brother is. Like she just looks over and she's like, "What are you staring at?" Mm-hmm. You don't remember that? Mm-hmm. She was sort of like, I don't know, Asian or Middle Eastern looking. Mm-hmm. Well, those two sort of in the second game become a couple, even though she was with a boy and becomes pregnant with, I don't know if they're going to follow that in the second season. But there, one part in the game, in the second game, they run across this place, and they got I don't know if they call it the rainbow flag, they call it the pride flag or whatever, and they have no idea what this stuff is. Mm-hmm. So, but it's very interesting. I like. Now, originally, another person was supposed to play Ellie that was in Game of Thrones. What was the youngest daughter's name in, I can't remember what her name is, from the House of Stark, the you know what I'm talking about?
Arya.
Arya, the youngest one. Mm-hmm.
The youngest girl.
Yeah, the youngest girl. Yeah. She was originally supposed to play her. I know this girl was also in Game of Thrones. You remember?
Ellie?
Yeah.
No?
She was in, she's the one who killed the giant White Walker. Remember now? Mm-hmm. She was like the little queen or whatever. Like she eventually, not submitted, but lent men to Jon Snow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but that was when she was younger. Now she's over. But the only other thing I have to say about like streaming shows right now, I've also been watching this show on Apple Plus. It's called Susie. It takes place in China. It's about a woman. Coincidentally, she's dyslexic, but she has a lot more capabilities. But she marries a Japanese man who he's not what she thought he was. Thought he's just a guy who works for a refrigerator company. But she has a son and him. But one day they got on a plane, and then the plane crashes, so she thinks they're dead. And then another day, a robot gets because in this world, there's like these they're like little bit taller than this chair. They're like those one robots we saw at Roboland.
Okay.
But they're on wheels.
Okay.
And they're like house bots, they call them. And they're supposed to help you with different things. And so a house bot's delivered to her house and by this guy, and she's given this house bot, and the guy says, "This is for you. This is actually, it was made specifically from your husband made this." And she's like, "What? He worked in refrigerators." And then he said, "Oh no, that was switched 7 years ago." And the robot's name is Sunny. But then you find out later in the series that she does in fact have certain memories of him. And then you do find out later, which I've been watching this series for several episodes, not being able to understand much of it because it's spoken in a lot in Japanese. And then last night when I found out, I was able to figure out something last night. So if you guys are listening to this and you want to watch this series, go to I don't know if it's settings or wherever it is, but it's right up in the right hand corner of your screen, and it's shaped like a circle. Click on that and then go down one, and it's sort of like a narrator mode, and it will narrate what they are saying when they are speaking Japanese. If you don't want to have it read the
Subtitle.
Yeah, subtitles. So it'll do that. But then also, the only other bad part is it's narrating certain actions. Like she looks longingly over or something like that. Or she picks up this. I don't know what it is. But
So did you like it that way? 'Cause
I
you
do.
Felt like you could follow it more?
Yes, I do like it better. I like it somewhat better, but then again, I don't know if it's taking me away because I'm like, am I going to have to watch this series twice the way it is originally and then go back and watch it again just to get the actual, because I'm like, on the last episode that came out this week, I would have really liked to know because these one characters, I don't know if they're what is like the mafia of in Japan, or like the because they always say, oh, you can't have tattoos in certain like bathhouses and things like that. So I thought it starts with an S. But anyways, these guys basically were not blackmailing, but they're saying, because her robot went missing, and they wanted her, and they were telling her, we want you to help us unlock your husband's computer. And it came to a point that they were going to drill into her head. But then some of the way the woman was, I mean, I could tell by the body language and stuff what the woman was going, but if I could have understood what she was saying, it was been better, because what they were home. And this is another thing. They're using devices in this show that are supposed to be like a universal translator. Like you just put it on your ear, and then it translates what they're saying into what they speak, and then vice versa. I'm like, why don't you do that for the audience? I mean, it would be interesting if, like, okay, you have it set for, you're watching it in the US. Most people in the US speak English. So why not, when they're using the translator and they hear each other, they speak English? Oh, no, well, I don't, and then when you're in the, like, Japan, they hear Japanese, you know? I don't know. I thought it'd be interesting. But that's all I have to say. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Nope. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend. I think if I hit this, it'll stop. How do I stop this? I do not know how to stop this.
Share.
So when I hit share,
Lock it out there.
just exit out. Then it says that.
Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Okay.